Bam!
So I've been podcasting since 2006. Before that, I was a Wall Street attorney. And I started podcasting originally because I was giving talks. And I was like, if I record these talks, then I don't have to repeat myself. But there was no place to put a sound file on the internet for other people to go and download.
Before it was cool and hip, dude. Really, like one of the OGs.
Oh, yeah. Like a decade before it was even cool and hip. I mean, at least podcasting got cool/hip in what, 2014, 2015 maybe. I had 8, 9, 10 years going before that where it was like, whatever, nerd, that's where I was
been
at.
there, done that. Got it.
It wasn't even like, I'm going to make money doing this. It was, I work on Wall Street. I don't need to make myself a crappy internet job. Like, why would I do that? I'm a finance attorney. And then it was like, oh, wait a minute. I hate being a finance attorney and I like this hobby that I'm doing, but there's no way I'm ever going to make that much money doing this. And then it was like selling coaching, selling courses. It's like, oh, it's a good lead gen source. And now I'm like, oh, actually what's going on here is I can make a bunch of money because ads are a thing. But there weren't digital ads in podcasting before. So being able to capitalize on things like that is relatively new.
Look, that's what's the phenomenon here is people don't understand. I mean, I run a solar company right now and I'm doing this on the side and it's starting to take ground. We've got, a few 100,000 subscribers and I've got, 40 million views on YouTube. I love this. I don't get paid to do this. I'm paying to do this, but I'm where you were many years ago. And it's like, look, the future down the road, 7, 10 years when I'm out of the solar business, I would love to do this and have that opportunity to get paid to do it, to share success stories and how to overcome adversity and how to open a business. And you're right. A lot of people listen to your show and shows like yours to get better. They're tools in order to make their life better. And people need that. And then these advertisers, whether it's Coke, whether it's water, whether it's Pepsi, whatever it is, they'll pay to stick their ad on there. Is that how that works?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty much. So like I'll have a campaign from Microsoft Teams come on, which is like a Slack clone or competitor. And they'll say like, all right, we want, $100,000 worth of advertising in November. And then you just put the commercials in and I record like, hey, Microsoft Teams, go check it out. Just go to microsoftteams.com/Jordan, something like that. And that's easy. And people come to expect that. And you can make the ads funny. You don't have to drone on. You can make it interesting. And then what's good about this is with podcasting, people sort of realize like, okay, this is a production that costs a lot to make. There's a lot of time involved. I like this creator. I'm going to do it. So you don't get the same kind of complaints as you do when you're watching, a cooking show and there's 15 commercials in a row, or when you're listening to the radio and commercials come on and you're just angry about it. With podcasting, a lot of times people are like, yeah, okay, I want to support this show, so I'm going to go buy this mattress and use this coupon code. Unless you overdo it with the ads, people are pretty cool with it.
And
so it's a good business model to have.
Right? They're hearing you talk about it. It's not some commercial that just pops on. They're hearing you, share your experience or your belief in that product, which is pretty cool. Then they're still getting
not all the time, but yeah. Usually I do a host red endorsement, which is a more pricey ad spot. Yeah. But you usually, I usually do that. And I'd say more and more there's people coming in that don't have enough money to pay for an endorsement, so they want to do like a producer red spot, or they want to do like a pre-produced commercial where it's like ESPN college football explosions. I don't really take those because I think they sound corny, and also you can charge less for those usually, so I try to stay away from it. I'd rather have less advertising that costs more money for the advertiser and makes more money for me than more ads that annoy people that are lower quality. And then like it's a quality play, not a volume play. Mm-hmm. And so you got to be pretty careful about that. There are a lot of podcasts that are run by radio companies, TV companies, and they're like, yeah, we have 16 ad slots in our hour. And I'm like, no one wants to hear that. Everyone's skipping these. Every commercial break, people are getting pissed off. Like you're not doing the right thing.
It's crazy. I remember watching ESPN years ago, 10, 15 years ago, they're reading live ads. And I'm like, whoa, when that first came out. And it is the thing. And people have it's become the norm. They're used to that and they don't mind at all. I would agree with you. You started doing this and still doing Wall Street and then let it go, or how did that transition happen?
I started this show while I was in law school, and then kept it going while I was working. And then I was moonlighting for a period of time on Sirius XM satellite radio when my show got picked up. And my law firm was like, well, as long as you don't fall behind on your work. And then the '08 crash, well, it was '07, but that whole thing started. And we ran out of work. And I was like, I'm just going to do this hobby that I've been doing. And then they let all of us go with like almost a year long severance package. So I was like, great, I'm just going to use that to get my business off the ground. And I remember thinking at the time, you'll like this because you run a business. At the time, I remember going, 9 months of severance? Oh, I'm not going to need that long to get this business off the ground. And then it was like 3 years later, I was like, when do we start making money? Right. This is so hard.
People forget and think that just because you own a business, you get paid. And one of the tips I always try to tell people, I've opened and created 3 successful businesses. And this by far, I've been blessed to be the biggest. But rule number 1 for me is you got to reinvest in your company. You pay yourself last. People forget that. And the companies that fall are the ones that try to pay themselves first or too much. And they forget that you're reinvesting in your company long term. It's not about the paycheck today.
Yeah, you see those guys on Shark Tank, and like Mark Cuban will go, okay, well, how much do you need to survive? And the guy will go, I'm fine with 6 figures. And he's like, I'm out.
Yeah.
Like, I'm fine with 6. I bet you're fine with 6 figures, buddy. What do you think I was going to do? Cut you a 7-figure check for getting an investment deal from me? I'm fine with 6 figures. How about you're going to make $24,000 a year until this thing is profitable? How's that sound?
Right.
That like you're going to be sleeping in the back on the office on a frickin' futon and, eating whatever we cater for the employees and working 6 days a week. I'm fine with 6 figures. This guy.
That's the world we live in, though. I mean, even hiring people, people are like, do I get a car package? Do I get a cell phone? Do I get a laptop? It's like to grind. We have sales reps making $250,000 a year, field energy consultants that do well, but we'll have professionals show up and they're like, am I not getting all these things? And ours is a commission only employee position. But when we have 300 reps and 30 of them are making $250,000 a year, that's a big deal. You got to sell the dream, but too many people think everything should be given to them without earning it. And I think sales really is the first step to entrepreneurship, to open a business. You got to be able to sell yourself and be able to live very frugal, like you said.
Definitely. I won't mention this company, but I've got some friends that run a company, and I'm trying not to I don't want anybody to be able to guess who this is, but one of the things they were complaining about recently was they have these kind of, pardon the stereotype, but like fat old sales guys who are like, I don't mean that it's not negative because they're fat and old, but the problem is they're like fat old lazy sales guys, and they fly everywhere first class. And which, not there's anything wrong with that, but when you're flying to a meeting in Dubai, I get it. When you're flying to Albuquerque for the day, who cares if you're flying? Why do you need a ticket that's $900 for a 2-hour flight? Just take the damn thing. And then, like you said, car package, they want a laptop. Fine. Okay, fine. A laptop and a cell phone is nothing, but why do you need me to rent your car? Just get a higher commission or spend some. It just doesn't make any money. And they're just like kind of chasing perks. And they're like, well, we're getting offers to go to XYZ Co over there, and they offer this and that and the other thing. And it's like, do you want to make money or do you want a leather interior? What are you doing? What are you doing? And they're just kind of like, and what's ironic? Those guys, they never close any deals.
Nope.
It's always the young guys who are making like 1/5 of the amount of commission that those guys are on because of their seniority schedules and everything. And they're making all the sales, and these old guys are going to meetings. That's it. They're just going to meetings all day, every day, and like taking severance packages when they don't perform.
2 things. One, you said you had partners and you're doing that and you felt handcuffed. Been there before, know exactly what that's like, where you're like, yeah. I feel like I'm in a cage and I can't take this to the next level because this dude wants to go too slow, right? I completely understand that. You got to break it and you got to move on. Secondly, one of the rules I try to emphasize to people, and I think you can appreciate this, especially with some of the people I want to talk about that you've brought on your show, but I have an 80-20 rule, right? 80% of the staff keep their job every month, 20% we fire. And we draw the KPI line. So I'm a big believer of 20% of your team is doing 80% of the work. The next 60% is doing 20%. That bottom 20%, you need to keep cutting and burning. If you want to grow a company like this, you have to do that. They have to have KPIs. They're not hitting it because people get stagnant. They have a shelf life. They start to turn rotten like milk. You got to throw them out. You can't keep, like you just said, you get the fat and old lazy guys. They feel comfortable. It needs to be uncomfortable. And those that are hungry, especially in sales, You got to keep pushing the bar up. And the way to do that is replace that bottom 20%. That's what I've seen growing businesses. Damn.